So let's get this started. So it's taken me way longer than I normally would in order to get this video started because I wrote it from the perspective of Karl Marx's Ghost, and that didn't work. It came off as too raw for YouTube, and I got to the end of it and I was like, I can't do this. So I went ahead and I rewrote it from the perspective of a 25-year-old school teacher that just got laid off because they want to use AI to teach school and make it remote. So she's not too happy about it, and she reads the comment that you guys are seeing up on the screen right now from Sir Thanks a Lot. And this is what she has to say. All right. I just got laid off as a public school teacher, and before you tell me it's not your fault, let me stop you. It's not just that the system that's broken. It's the people inside it, including you and me, and everyone else who plays along. We love to blame politicians, billionaires, and faceless corporations, but we keep feeding them with our votes, our dollars, and our silence. So if America is a giant corporation, then congratulations. You're all employees of the same crooked company. I've been saying this for years. That's why I call every job McDonald's. Why you work at a Mc job and you collect a Mc paycheck. We're all working at the same place, whether it's a Taco Bell, whether it's a Walmart or a Kroger's, wherever you work. If you're not making a living wage, if you're not making it, if you're not spending half of your time enjoying your life, working 20 hours or less, or again, strong advocate for the 1 day, 1 hour work week right here. But if you're not enjoying your life, if you're working like a slave, if you're at Pound Town every morning at 8 a.m. and you feel like you're getting sore back there, but you're not getting anything out of it, look at the choices that you have made in order to end up in that predicament. Because we all make them. We all buy from Amazon. We all buy from Walmart, knowing full well what the conditions are like when we spend our money inside of those places. We all know we shouldn't participate in Amazon. We all know we shouldn't use Microsoft software. We shouldn't use Google. We shouldn't use T-Mobile or Verizon. Feeding the machine just makes it stronger. But I'll tell you this. A few years ago, I was finishing up my anthropology degree, and the professor came out and said, "Oh, we need to protect these endangered animals and people need to stop killing them because they're going extinct." What she didn't say was, what else are they going to eat? What are they going to sell? If all you have is that endangered, you know, monk gnome hybrid thing that lives outside, it's staring at you and it says, "You can't eat me because I'm endangered." Well, guess what? When someone's not looking, you're going to eat whatever that thing is because there's nothing else to eat. And I wrote that in a paper. And my teacher thought I was stupid because we need to protect the things uh, that we need to eat. The same way with Amazon. People are complacent when it comes to large corporations because we need them. I mean, we've become a society, at least in my area. If you need something like computer parts, or you need books, or you need certain items, we have become completely dependent on Amazon. I remember I was in college when Amazon first came out, and suddenly you weren't going to the bookstore anymore on campus. You were just ordering everything you needed, textbooks and all, from one place. And it used to be just books, as I recall. And then they added everything else. Then slowly it became everything else. And suddenly things like bait shops, bike stores, shoe stores, all the small stores just vanished out of society. Now, if you walk around in our world, the only thing that's small business, I would say, are barber shops, nail salons, and massage places, especially the Asian massage parlor. Here in Arizona, you can't go more than a block without running into another seedy Asian massage parlor. They're not massage envy. They are not run in a way in which it is a legitimate business, but they function. And obviously, if there's one on every street corner, I've even been in some shopping plazas where there's one on each side. And these places are, for a better place, a place of uh, ill regret. Let's put it that way. They are not good places, but you can play whack a mole with these places, but they're going to keep popping up because society has a need for it. The same way that when a Walmart goes out of business, it just shows up somewhere else because there's a constant need for it. I mean, in my city, all there are, at least in this part of it, there's a Kroger's on every single corner within 2 miles of each other. Why? Because there's a need. Amazon trucks, delivery vehicles, they're everywhere. All the time, they're everywhere. On my way to work, I'm going to pass at least 5 to 10 of them because there's a warehouse right around where I work, right down the street from me, because I see the vehicles coming out all day long. So they have warehouses everywhere. That's why someone who's either worked at Amazon or is currently working at Amazon. And yet you have these people. I had one last week tell me, don't buy from Amazon. And I'm like, what is the alternative? I need memory for a computer. I need a flash drive. I need a hard drive. I need stuff, right? At McDonald's on any given day, I can spend $5,000 to $10,000. Why? Because there's no one else. And because there's no one else, we don't have much of a choice. It's like our employment. If you don't have a car, how far away from your employment can you live? In fact, yesterday when I was driving home, one of the girls that's a cashier at the Kroger's near my house, she's sitting outside waiting for someone to give her a ride home. And I told her, it's like, well, here, just hop in the car and I'll take you home. And she's like, no, I'm waiting for one of my coworkers to get off of work. And I'm like, okay. I went in, did my shopping, came back out, and she was still standing outside. And I was like, this is what happens when you rely on other people for your transportation. It's not their priority. Anyhow, let's get into talking point number one. Everyone claims they want fair wages and ethical business, but then they choose the cheapest option, knowing it's built on exploitation. Convenience beats conscious consciousness every time, and corporations bank on it. Oh, convenience. Convenience beats conscience every time, and corporations bank on it. Well, I mean, we can all tell ourselves not to do something, but at the end of the day, and I know that Susie Rottencrotch is going to be standing outside of that Taco Bell. She's going to be looking good. She's going to be wearing the tiniest micro skirt you can imagine. And there's not a stitch of what underneath there. You can choose to go home, or you can choose to have a meeting of the uglies. And you're going to choose that. Why? Convenience. Susie's there. You're there. You might have had a couple drinks, a few drinks, or a lot of drinks. You might have been 3 sheets to the wind. I know people that do this all the time. She'll order $1,000 worth of stuff from some online company and then wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I got to send all this stuff back because I actually can't afford it. It's something that I've known so many girls do. They'll buy all this stuff, try it all on, and then send it all back. Why? Because you can. That's why we do it. It's the convenience being able to not feel poor. It's the same reason why you go to Starbucks. That sense of not letting yourself feel poor is burnt right into every human being that you've ever met. Because we know that you're poor. I know that I'm poor. I know that I can't afford much, that at the end of the month I have nothing left. But believing that, allowing that to really sink in, that you will own nothing and be happy, is very hard for us human beings to do, especially when other people can judge us for being poor. If you're showing up at work with dirty clothes, the same clothes, you're not, your hygiene has diminished greatly because you just don't feel like it. People notice these things about you. People notice when you smell. People notice when you don't try. People notice when you look poor. I mean, yesterday I was with the office girls and they are notably poor. Their uniforms are shabby, their faces are not done, their bodies are not kept up. They look poor. And we all don't like that because society judges us very, very harshly for looking a certain way. If you're overweight, you're out of shape, you look, I don't know how to embody it. But for some reason, we human beings can acknowledge when another person doesn't have resources. You get judged by the car that you drive, the type of job you have, and your personal appearance all day long. And human beings will go into massive debt in order to portray an image of them that isn't real. I know. I do it all the time. When I buy a new pair of tennis shoes that I don't need, or I buy more clothes than I need, we do these things. Why? Because we like to pretend. And to that extent, we pretend that we're okay all the time. I do it. You know, when you show up at work and you smile, you're pretending to be okay because your employer demands it of you. Talking point number two: voters prioritize vibes and empty promises over actual credentials, experience, or real world struggle. Most politicians have never paid rent late, worked minimum wage, or lived paycheck to paycheck, yet they write the rules for those who do. Yes, those people that get voted into office more than likely have never suffered a day in their life. I've met these people. You meet these people in your life because you go to school with them. You see them. You're not part of their friendship club, but every once in a while in a college classroom, you're going to get a lot of different backgrounds that come together to do a group project. And the ones that really bother me are the ones that have money and pretend to be normal like you. They dress a little crappier. They pretend that they're lower than they actually are to fit in with a group of people that obviously aren't driving the car that they drive, didn't grow up in the mansion that they grew up. They have no idea what it's like to be 16 years old and working at the drive-through at McDonald's next to your grandpa. Not another 16-year-old kid, but your grandpa working there, running the fry-later or serving hamburgers or running the cash register or cleaning up another mess made intentionally by a person who doesn't care. That's the thing. When I worked at Walmart, I would say that at least 25%, maybe a larger percentage, were when you had to clean something up in an aisle, it was someone deliberately spilled something or threw something on the floor or broke a jar. Like I remember there's this one night that stands out over my entire Walmart career, and that's it was getting ready to close. It was nearly midnight. It was probably like 11:55, and we're waiting to close the store, and suddenly you hear a noise in the background. And there's some punk kids deliberately emptying out 5 gallons of milk onto the floor just because they can. We would spend hours cleaning it up because that's a lot of milk. And it was everywhere. Why did they do this? Because they could. Because they didn't care. They didn't understand how much labor it was going to cause you to clean up their mess. Again, they're people who've never worked minimum wage jobs and don't understand how important it is for minimum wage workers who live paycheck to paycheck to continue doing their jobs. Most people who are politically active, don't really understand why people are poor. In fact, they'll question it all day long. And of course, a big part of questioning it is blaming you for having to take that minimum wage job. Even though you went to college and you're a pretty smart person. I mean, there was one particular phrase that I heard also when I worked at Walmart, and it was from the other employees. And they would continually tell me this: smart people don't work at Walmart. Smart people don't work at Kroger's. Smart people don't work at an Amazon warehouse. But I'll tell you this much: just because you went to school to get a STEM degree doesn't make you immune to having to work a crappy job. In fact, I know a guy who has a both a bachelor's and a master's degree in engineering, and he makes less money than the other guys around him because he's only been out of college for a year, and the best job that he could do was get hired on at the McDonald's where I work. And I talk to him just about every day, and he tells me that, it's a little bit better than the Costco he used to work at, but the pay's practically the same. And that's what I'm telling you guys. The pay is nearly identical for Johnny Sixpack as it is Susie Rottencrotch, who went to college. Maybe not the best college in the world, but she did go to college. All right, let's get to our final talking point here. Corporate greed isn't just up there. Everyday people mimic in it in their own small transactions. The culture of if I can get away with it, I will is why scam pricing, junk fees, and blanket ripoffs keep thriving. Let me tell you this: look at your receipt, people. When I worked in retail, people didn't look at their receipts. And it's built right into the system to see what they can get away with. People would occasionally look and be like, oh my God, I'm being overcharged for this, that. The price that I was expecting to pay isn't the price that I paid. And they're expecting to get away with that. Junk fees. I mean, just look at your internet bill or your cell bill. Just look at the fees. They're ridiculous. And you're just like, you scratch your head, and we just put our heads down and just say, well, what can one person do about it? Nothing, right? Because they're looking to see what they can get away with. The same thing can be said about minimum wage jobs that don't have any value in our society. Can they get away with not giving you health benefits? Yes. Can they get away without providing you adequate time off? Yes. Can they get away with forcing you to work holidays and nights and every other day? Because that's the one thing that really gets me about being a poor worker, is that the total lack of respect. They're open all the times that you don't want to be at work because their main purpose is to serve their customers that are off from work, that need you to be there on every holiday, on the weekends, at night. They don't need you there Monday morning at 8 o'clock. They need you there Friday afternoon. They need you there on Thanksgiving, on every other major holiday. Missing a major holiday while working in retail is considered a sin. But we allow it. In fact, I remember one customer who came in on Thanksgiving and asked, why are you open? And I just looked at them and I said this store is open because you're shopping here on Thanksgiving. And they just looked at me like, oh, wait, I'm the problem. Yes, you are. Just like you can go look in the mirror right now and see why Amazon still exists. And you can look at your own dumb face and think to yourself, it exists because I keep ordering things 24 hours a day that I may not exactly need. But I want it, and I want it now with Prime shipping. You're like, remember that. Every time you do something Prime, there's someone that's suffering in the background so you can get, and I hate to say this, but yesterday when I was working on the script from the perspective of Karl Marx Ghost, he actually wrote this line. I'm here working at the Amazon Fulfillment Center, putting together this package for you that includes a cheap butt plug. I was like, really? Butt plug? Karl Marx packing a butt plug at an Amazon warehouse for you because you need it? Wow, ChatGPT, that's a hell of a line. That'd be a thing to see as well. All right, let's close out this script with this. We can't fix the top without cleaning up the bottom, and that starts with the person in the mirror. Stop rewarding greed, stop enabling scams, stop acting like you're powerless in a system that runs on your compliance. If we want honorable business back, we have to practice it ourselves every single day, because until we change how we operate, the company called America will keep giving us the same job, the same pay, and the same lie. That is very true. Until we stop showing up to these Mick jobs and accepting that Mick paycheck and getting your Happy Meal toy at the end of the week, you will not change. They know who you are, they know what work you will accept, and they will continue pushing the same narrative that work is good, that any job is good. And you know as well as I do that that's not right. We shouldn't have to live like this, scared, starving, in the darkness, driving your Promobile, getting hurt at work. That's the call I didn't want to get yesterday, where the message is that Mello got hurt at work yesterday after being there for exactly a year. And it freaked me out because I knew eventually that people get hurt at work. When I worked in retail, work is dangerous, people. Amazon warehouses are notorious for accidents, and not just the, oh, I cut myself accident. No, the permanent accidents. And once you fall, they continue to work as normal because it's considered normal. They've normalized you making the ultimate sacrifice in that building. And they just walk around you and look at you and say, well, glad that wasn't me today, but it might be me tomorrow.